Afternoon. How is everyone today? I hope everyone is all good. Today is Sunday, the 19th of July. So halfway through the month. Welcome again to Akwaaba Yoga. Thanks for joining us. It is 12:30 on the dot. So yeah, we're going to kick off in a seated position. Someone messaged me, one of my mates, Natalie, if you're tuned in, messaged me something before I started, which was around being centered and focused. So that's going to be the theme of the start and the finish for today. But be a nice flow. We'll be picking up the pace a little bit. Thanks for the suggestion, Monica. So we've learned a fair bit over the past 12 weeks. So yeah, have your towel handy. Have your water. I've got my water in the mug today. And have a block if you need a block. But yeah, let's get cracking. Welcome to everyone joining in. Cool. And yeah, if this is your first time, again, my name is Mark. Welcome. Akwaaba means welcome. Okay, we're going to start on in a seated position. So if you've got a block, feel free to use a block, or if you've got a thick book, I'm partway through this book called Staying Power. Use a book to sit on. Or feel free to come to your knees. And if you've got any injuries, please be mindful. Take responsibility for your practice. Don't push yourself. Just go to your edge and just seek to enjoy. So just come cross-legged or on your knees. So just taking the cue I had earlier from the post I got sent by Natalie. I'm just going to start for about 20 seconds or so. Just come into stillness, just close your eyes. And then just come into a sense of being centered and focused. Just focus for the next 60 minutes on the movement we're going to bring to our bodies. If you can, just try and sit up through your spine so you're nice and tall. It may have been a long week for some of you, so just use this as an opportunity to come and find a bit of quietness in your mind before we start the practice. Just notice your natural breath here. Notice your ribs just expanding up and outwards and contracting back inwards. And even if this is the only 20 seconds you've got of the day to come to stillness, just enjoy it. Just blink open your eyes now. Cool, we're going to come into a very quick and easy, I hope, seated twist. So we did, I think, twists for the last 2 weeks. I'm just going to pick that up before we start. Just take your right hand and place your right hand on your left knee. And just take your left hand, maybe just behind you. Just sit it down on the floor. You're going to lengthen up through the body, so you sit nice and tall through the body. And we're not twisting with the head, we're twisting from the lower abdomen. And just using the hand, just bring a resistance to help just turn us around. Just try and keep your chin over your chest. Just start to feel a nice stretch down your right hand side. On the inhale, just draw up. On the exhale, relax the breath and see if you've got any more room just to twist to your left hand side. Just go for one more inhale. Exhale to twist. And release. Just bring yourself back to center. Release the grip with the right hand. Maybe shuffle so you're back centered. And then just twist over to the other side. So this time take your left hand. Place your left hand on your right knee this time. You might find you're a bit more tighter on one side than the other. So on the inhale, again, just draw up through the lower abdomen. You keep your chin over your chest, and you're twisting from the belly through the body. And just using the resistance of the left hand just to help bring you over a bit more. So the inhale, you're just drawing up. On the exhale, just twisting over. Again, this time you're bringing a stretch down your left hand side, down your lats, through your intercostal muscles. And on the next breath, just release the grip. Just motion the head from left to right. Maybe give it a nice semicircle as you look from right down to left. Just roll out the neck. Just take the right hand this time, lift the right up to the sky. Then just take the right hand over the left ear. Again, just lengthen up through the body. And on the exhale, you're not pulling the head, just relax your head over to the right hand side. And then just again use the resistance of the right hand against the side of the head, just to bring a stretch this time down the left hand side of your neck. So you just bring a bit of gentle resistance as you're pushing your head back into your hand. You can maybe take it towards the back diagonal. As you take your gaze down towards your right knee. So just feel into your neck here. Maybe walk the hand towards the back of the head. As you take your gaze down. Just come to your own stretch here. If you find a nice sweet spot, just hold it. And then release. Just lift the head back up. And again, just switch sides. So this time, lifting the left hand up to the sky. Just bend it over and take it over the right side of the head, or if you can reach your right ear. Again, inhale to lengthen up. Exhale, start to just move the head over towards the left hand side. So again, you're nice and tall. You're not pulling the head down. But when you're nice and comfortable, just start to use the resistance of the left hand as you push your head into your hand. So you start to feel stretched down the right hand side of your neck. Again, as we did on the other side, just move the hand over to the back diagonal. So you take your gaze down. And just keep moving the hand over until you find a nice sweet spot. You might want to take your head so it's facing downwards and you've got a stretch down the back of your neck. Release, just lift the head back up. And we're going to come into our cat and cow. So just bring some movement to the spine. So come off your block if you're on a block or if you're on a book. Untangle your legs, or come off your knees. So you're going to come into your cat and cow. Hands underneath your shoulders. Once you're nice and grounded, we're going to barrel the belly down. Just take your gaze up towards the front diagonal. And on the exhale, push your hands into the mat as you come into your angry cat. And keep that flow going. Inhale to look up. The belly goes down. Exhale to push into the mat. So create space between your shoulder blades. Take your gaze to your navel. Just take two more at your own pace. Inhale to look up. Exhale to push into the mat. And again, at your own pace, inhale to look up. Exhale to come into your angry cat. And then just take a couple of seconds to come into a freestyle, a freedom of movement. You might want to take a figure of 8 with the hips. Just discover any tightness in your hips, or between your shoulder blades. Just let it be free. Just forget any straight angles here or straight lines. Let's just come to stillness. Back in our tabletop. Let's curl the back toes under and push back into our down facing dog. So you're in your inverted V. Again, as we like to do, just walk out the legs. Just start to come into movement and find any tightness. You might be discovering your calves or your hamstrings. You might come onto the toes. Start to draw the heels energetically towards the mat. If they don't reach, again,
It's not a judgment call here. It's not a judgment or reflection of yourselves. As we go through the practice, you'll find that you'll be able to create extra room as you come into your downward dog. So take your gaze towards the back of the mat, in between your feet. Try to find length in your back and raise your tailbone up to the sky. And on the next breath in, let's start to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. So you come to the front, into our ragdoll. So you're nice and heavy, the hands and the head. Just take opposite hands to opposite elbows. And let's just roll from side to side, or swing or sway from side to side. You've probably got a slight bend in the knees. And if you haven't already, just start to come into your ujjayi breath. So you're inhaling in through the nose and exhale through the nose. So you've got a slight restriction in the back of the throat. And the ujjayi breath is what's going to help guide us through the flow. To release the elbows and stay heavy with the head and the arms. And slowly start to roll up one vertebra at a time. And let the head and shoulders be the last to come up. Just bring your feet together so your big toes are touching. Stand with the palms facing forward in Tadasana, so you're nice and tall and feel nice and grounded. Just tuck in through the hips. So you want an anterior tilt of the hips. Draw up through the torso. You're nice and tall and proud. Now I'm going to go through some sun salutations. So bring your hands to prayer in between your chest. Take a deep inhale in as you draw your prayer up to the sky. And exhale, bend from the hips as we come down, all the way down. Inhale, let's take a halfway lift, hands to the shins, lengthen out the arms. Exhale, hands to the front of the mat to step back into our high plank. Let's roll forwards and back on the toes. Let's roll forwards on the toes. We're going to come down into a low plank. So your elbows are at right angles. Push through the toes as you come up into a cobra. If you're nicely warmed up, you want to take an upward facing dog. So your hands are nice and flat on the mat. You're drawing your chest through your arms. Your knees might be lifted off the mat. And then push back into your downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in through the nose. And exhale through the nose. You feel one more breath, inhale in through the nose. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's jump or step to the front of the mat. You and your ragdoll. On the inhale, let's take a halfway lift, hands to shins, just look beyond the mat. Exhale, let's release down to the ground. On the inhale, I'm going to draw the hands all up to the sky. Meet the hands together in prayer. Draw the hands back through the chest and come all the way down. On the inhale, again, take a halfway lift, so hands against the shins, lengthen out the arms. Just look beyond the front of the mat. Roll back the shoulders. And on the exhale, place your hands at the front of the mat. Step back into your high plank. Roll forward into the toes. If you need to take a modification, feel free to drop the knees. And together, we're going to come into a low plank. Again, tuck the elbows just either side of the ribs. All together, let's push up into an upward facing dog. And on the exhale, we'll push back into downward facing dog. Leave for just one more breath. Deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. On the next breath in, let's come up onto the toes. Let's jump or step to the front of the mat. Let's take a halfway lift together. Hands on the shins. As you lengthen forward, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, release your hands to the ground. Relax the head. On the inhale, let's draw the hands all up to the sky. And then meet in prayer at the top. Exhale, we're drawing our prayer through our chest. We bend from the hips as we come all the way down. Inhale is coming to a halfway lift. You can roll the shoulders back, create length in your spine. Exhale, hands to the front of the mat. Step the left foot back, step the right foot back. Again, roll forwards onto the toes. Either take the modification on this or come down to a low plank. Just push through the toes as you come into your upward facing dog. And push back. Really push with the hands as you come into your down facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. And release the breath through the nose. Getting this jump or step to the front of the mat. Where we're meeting ragdoll. Let's take a deep inhale in as we come to our halfway lift again. Hands to our shins. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale. Let's release down to the ground. Maybe slightly bend through the knees and draw the hands all out to the sky. Let the hands meet in prayer. And again, bring the prayer through the chest. Bend from the hips. Just come all the way down. Inhale through the nose as you come up. Draw your belly in. And exhale, bring the hands to the mat. Step the left foot back. Step the right foot back. Roll forward onto the toes. Let's come into a low plank. A stream, push up into an upward facing dog. And again, exhale. Push with the hands as you come into your downward facing dog. We're here for, again, just 3 breaths. To see if you notice any increase in your heart rate. See if energetically you can draw your heels any closer towards the mat. But try not to compromise the pose here. Really roll the shoulders away from the ears to lengthen out the arms a bit more, create a bit more space for you to lengthen out your back. On the next inhale in, I'm going to draw the right foot up so it's parallel with the mat and it's pointing behind us. Pointing the toes in towards the face. And let's draw that knee all the way through as we go knee to nose. Let's take the leg back. So again, it's parallel with the mat. Inhale, we'll go knee to nose. So one more, let's take it back so it's parallel. Really pushing through the hands here. On the next breath in, you go knee to nose. Take the foot back. And on the next breath in, you join the leg all the way through and hold your knee to your nose for 3, for 2, for 1. Step your right foot down so it's at the front of the mat and then jump your left foot to meet your right foot at the front of the mat. Stay bent over at the front. Stay heavy through the hands and the arms. On the next breath in, you're going to take the hands all out to the sky. On the exhale, bring your hands to your chest. On the next breath in, raise your hands up in prayer all the way to the sky. You try to breathe beyond the fingers. On the exhale, we're bending from the hips to draw the prayer through our chest as we come all the way down. On the next breath in, this time you're taking your right foot and stepping your right foot all the way to the back of the mat and come down onto your right knee. Uncurl the back toes so you find yourself in low plank, low lunge. So your left leg is bent, your left knee is bent, and so the left foot's in front of your mat. You're in a low lunge. Once you're nice and stable, start to draw the hands up to the sky, lift through the torso. And on the exhale, bring the hands back towards the front of the mat. Curl the back toes under. Lift up your left leg and jump it all the way back to meet the right at the back of the mat. So we're all meeting high plank. Again, feel free to drop the knees if it's there for you. Let's roll forward onto the toes if you're in high plank. If you're on the knees, let's all come there together into a low plank. Let's push up into our upward facing dog. And on the exhale, push your hands into the mat. Come on the toes up as you come into your downward facing dog. On the next breath in, let's lift the right foot so it's parallel with the mat. And this time you're taking the right foot all the way through the body, your right knee's leading. And this time the right sole of the foot comes to the front of the mat, so your sole is flat. This time drop your left knee and uncurl your back toes. So you're in a low lunge on the left hand side, creating a nice stretch through the left hip flexor. Feel free to bend if you can a bit more onto that right knee and bring your left hip a bit closer towards the mat. On the inhale, draw the hands all the way up to the sky. Just lift up through the torso to get extra stretch through the left hip flexor. And on the exhale, bring your hands to the front of the mat. Curl the back toes on left foot under, and then jump all the way to meet your right foot at the front of the mat. You're nice and heavy here. Let's take a halfway lift, so take your hands to your shins. As you look up just beyond your mat, draw your belly in. On the exhale, come all the way back down. On your next breath in, I'm going to raise the hands all up to the sky. And on the exhale, bring your hands in prayer to your chest. Let's take the other side. On the inhale, just draw our hands all the way up to the sky. Again, try and make yourself nice and tall. Breathe beyond the fingers. On the exhale, we're coming all the way through the body, bend from the hip. Bring your hands to the mat, bend into your knees so your hands reach the mat. This time we're stepping back with the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. I'm going to drop our left knee. Feel free to pad up your left knee if the floor's a bit hard. Uncurl the back toes as we come into our low lunge on the left-hand side. Once you feel nice and grounded, start to take your hands off the mat. Again, you're feeling a stretch through the left hip flexor. You're bending, if you can, a bit more into that right knee. You start to draw those hands up to the sky. Stay nice and tall. And on the exhale, cut all the hands to the front of the mat. Curl the back toes under the left foot. Step back into high plank. Again, if you need to drop the knees, please feel free to do so. So listen to your body. And from here, we're going to come into a low plank. So you're bending through the elbows, tucking the elbows in. So either side of your ribs, you're pushing up into your upward facing dog. And on the exhale, pushing back into our downward facing dog. This time I'm going to lift the left leg up so it's parallel with the mat. This time drawing that left knee all the way through the body. And you're taking left foot. So the sole of the left foot sits at the front of the mat. Draw up your right knee. Uncurl your right toes as you come to low lunge on the right hand side. Once you're nice and grounded through the front sole of the left foot, or the back of the sole of the left foot, lift the torso up, and this time you can feel a stretch, I hope, through the right hip flexor. I'm feeling nice and grounded. Start to together, just raise the hands, the arms all the way up to the sky. We're here for one more breath. Make them nice and tall. And on the next breath, cut all the hands to meet at the front of the mat. Curl the back toes under. In one giant leap, you're going to jump the right foot to meet the left foot at the front of the mat. Your head and your torso, your arms are all heavy. Just let gravity pull you down here. All together, let's take a halfway lift, take our hands to our shins. Roll the shoulders back. On the exhale, let's come down. On the inhale, let's take our hands all out to the sky. And bring our hands in prayer to the middle of our chest. We'll do that again, just one more time on each side. Just pick up the pace just a little bit if we can. But if you're not quite there, just go at your pace, just flow with your breath. On the inhale, just draw our hands to the sky in prayer. Exhale, bend from the hips as we come down. On the inhale, let's take a halfway lift together. Hands to our shins. On the exhale, bring our hands to the mat. We're lifting our right foot up, taking the right foot all the way back, dropping down onto the right knee, uncurling the back toes, drawing the hands all out to the sky. From one breath in, on exhale, cut all the hands down, curl the back toes under, and jump that left foot to meet the right foot at the back of the mat. Roll forward onto the toes. Let's all come down into a low plank. Let's push up into our upward facing dog. Maybe lifting your knees off the mat and push back into our downward facing dog. This time I'm going to rise up with that left leg so it's parallel. If you can go a bit higher and take your leg up to the back diagonal, please feel free to do that. And then slowly we're going to draw that left knee all the way through the body so the right sole of the foot lands at the front of the mat. Let's all together drop that left knee to the mat, uncurl the back toes, and draw the hands all up to the sky. On the inhale in. On the exhale, release the hands to the front of the mat, curl the back toes under, and jump that left foot to meet the right foot at the front of the mat. On the inhale, come to a halfway lift. Exhale, release down. On the inhale, bend into the knees, come all the way up to the sky. Bring your hands to prayer. Let your hands meet at the center of the chest. Let's take the other side. Inhale, draw the hands up to the sky, try and touch the ceiling. Exhale, bend from the hips as we come all the way down. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands to the mat. This time we're jumping back with the left foot. Your left toes come to the back of the mat, drop your left knee, uncurl your back toes. Feel nice and grounded and supported with the mat here. Start to draw your torso up, and lift your hands up to the sky. Your biceps at either side of your ears. Got a nice stretch for your left hip flexor. And on the breath out, cut all the hands down, curl the back toes under, jump that right foot all the way back to the back of the mat. Let's roll over onto the toes as we press down into our low plank. Together we push up, using the strength of the hands into our upward facing dog. Curl the back toes under as we come into our downward facing dog. This time you're lifting your left leg so it's parallel with the mat. Again, if it's there for you, take your left leg to the back diagonal and then slowly start to draw your left knee through the body. You're high on the back toes and place the sole of the left foot at the front of the mat. Let's all drop that right knee and uncurl the back toes. So we're now in a low lunge. Once you feel nice and grounded, start to lift the hands up, all up to the sky. You're nice and tall through your torso. Create a nice stretch through your right hip flexor. Feel free to bend a bit more if you've got the room to get a bit more stretch into your right hip. On the next breath, bring your hands down to the front of the mat. Curl your back toes under. Jump or step to the front of the mat. Let's come to a halfway lift. Just take your hands to your shins. On exhale, come down. On the next breath in, let's take the hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale. This time I'm going to come all the way down. So bend from the hips. Bring your prayer through your chest. Let's come all the way back down again. Let's take a halfway lift. Hands to our shins. Lengthen out the arms. Draw the shoulders back. Create length in your spine. Bring your hands to the mat. Slightly bend into the knees. And step back with that left foot. Step back with that right foot as we come to our high plank. Just roll forward onto the toes. Let's come to our low plank. Let's push up into our upward facing dog. Just hold it there for a couple of breaths. If If you can, try and lift your knees up off the mat by pushing into the front edges of the toes. And together we push back through the hands, curl the back toes under as you come into your downward facing dog. You're here for 3 breaths. If it's calling for you, feel free at any point to come into child's pose. So child's pose, if you've not done it before, you've got your knees apart, your feet together, and you're sinking into your hips and bringing your forehead towards the mat. You need to take a quick sip of water. Please use this as an opportunity to do so. Let's all meet again in our downward facing dog. So you can lengthen that through the arms, rolling your shoulders away from your ears, and see if you can take your sacrum a bit higher up towards the ceiling. On the next breath in, let's take that right leg again, so it's parallel to the mat. I'm going to draw that knee all the way through, from knee to nose, and hold it for 3, for 2, for 1. And place that front leg, the front sole of the foot down. Let's come into warrior 1 legs. Let's come to warrior 1. Your back leg is nice and straight. Your foot is pointing out towards 10 o'clock. Once you feel nice and stable and grounded through the mat, to draw the hands all up to the sky. Standing nice and proud and tall through the torso. You've got slight bend in that right leg and that right knee in your warrior 1. On the next breath in, let's open up into warrior 2. So right hand forward, left hand back. Both arms are parallel with the mat. Try not to lean too far forward. Try and come up to nice and tall the torso. On the next breath in, let's flip that front palm over and take it into reverse warrior. So bring your right hand all up to the sky and a bit further back if it's there for you. Your left hand is up against your left hip. Just try and create a nice stretch down your right hand side. On the next breath, we're going to come into our side angle lunge. So bring your right elbow so it sits just inside of your right thigh. You're going to open up the body over towards the left hand side, taking left hand up to the sky. Use the resistance of the thigh against the right elbow, just help to maintain the integrity of your pose here. Take your gaze up to the left hand or maybe down to the floor. To maintain that bend in that right knee. And on next breath in, let's all come up into our warrior 2. From warrior 2, we're going to jump that left leg up as we come into our half moon. So we're going to balance on that right foot. So on that right foot, on a count of 3, we're going to just jump up. 1, 2, 3. You can jump up and feel grounded through that right foot. You're lifting that left leg so it's nice and parallel with the floor, and you're opening up your body to the left hand side. If you've got a block, maybe use a block underneath that right hand. Really feel grounded through all 4 points of your feet. Maybe take that left hand up to the sky so you can raise that left leg any higher. And on the next breath, just drop back into warrior 2 legs. So you bring your left leg back down to the mat. Come back into warrior 2 arms as well. Again, you're nice and tall for your torso. And from here, let's all take an interlace behind our backs. So you're grabbing both hands and interlacing just behind your lower back. On a deep inhale in, let's lift and shine our chest up to the ceiling. And on the exhale, start to take your chest forwards towards the front diagonal. You're keeping your warrior 2 legs, and you're taking your bend, taking your chest so it sits just inside of your right thigh, of your right foot. Maybe lift your hands up off your sacrum if you can. It's a really good stretch to test your balance. But feel nice and strong, grounded through your feet. Feel yourself creating a nice opening between the shoulders. Stretch through your right hip. Feel nice and strong through your hamstrings. On the next breath in, start to elevate your hands back towards your sacrum. So you lift your chest back up. Let's come back into warrior two. Hands. And on the next breath, let's cuddle the hands down towards the mat. Let's take our right foot and step our right foot all the way back to the back of the mat. And just I'm going to spin over to our left hand as we come into side plank. So either drop the knee, you're dropping your right heel towards the mat and going to open up towards the right hand side in our side plank. If it's there for you, you can take the full pose. But again, listen to your body. If you're taking your full pose, your left foot, it sits underneath your right foot. Both legs are nice and straight. You're putting up through your hips. And you just take 3 pulses. That right hand just coming all the way down behind our left elbow. And draw it all the way back up for 1. Let's come down. Again, thread it behind that left elbow and draw it all the way back up. Let's see, you've got 1 more on this side. Thread that right hand again all the way through and draw it all the way back up. And then spin your hands. So both hands at the front of the mat. We're all meeting in high plank. Let's roll through the toes. Let's come down to our low plank. Push up into our upward facing dog. This time I'm going to push back into our down facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. And exhale out through the nose. Take 1 more breath. On Ujjayi. This I'm going to lift our left leg so it's parallel with the mat. On the next breath, I'm going to draw that knee through your body. So take knee to nose and hold it there for 3, for 2, for 1. Let that left sole come and sit in between both hands as you come into warrior 1, warrior 2 legs. So you start to lift up through your torso. Your back leg is nice and straight with that rear foot. Your back right foot pointing out towards 2 o'clock. Once you feel nice and grounded, try and have it so your hips are pointing as far forward as you can, as opposed to over to the side. But you try and draw your right hip a bit further forward as you lift your hands all up to the sky for warrior 1. Take a deep inhale in. And exhale. On next breath in, let's come into warrior 2 hands. So you've got your left hand going forward, your right hand going back. Both arms are parallel with the mat. On next breath in, let's flip that front palm over. And this time come to reverse warrior on the other side. Again, I'm going to use my right hand against my right hip to help create a bit more space for me to come up and over as I get a nice stretch. We're going for a stretch for our left hand side of our body. You retain that bend in that left knee as you start to come over into side angle lunge on the other side. So this time, your left elbow sits just inside of your left thigh. We're going to open up on this occasion to the right hand side. So you can use the resistance of the elbow against the right thigh, just to help you create a bit more room as we open up towards the right. Taking our right hand up towards the sky. Take your gaze up to the right hand, or maybe take your gaze down towards the floor. On the next breath in, let's all come up, back into warrior two. So you maintain that bend in that left knee. You feel nice and open through the hips. Both arms are parallel with the floor. And let's just take our hands again behind our backs. Maybe take the opposite interlace. So if you had your right thumb on top on the other side, maybe this time put your left thumb on top and interlace the fingers. Again, let's really lift up our chest as we shine our hearts up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, maintaining your legs, try not to fan your left bum out. Try and keep it nice and centered. Start to bring your chest towards the right diagonal. And slowly you'll find that your hands still in the interlace are lifting up off your sacrum. You're finding you're creating a bit more room in between your shoulder blades. So use the Ujjayi breath here to help you feel nice and grounded. Just trusting your feet. On the next breath in, bring your hands all the way back as you lift your torso back up. Bring your hands back into warrior two. As we did on the other side, we're going to come into halfway into half moon. This time on the left foot, so you're nice and grounded, but nice and stable for your left foot. And on the next kick up, you're going to kick up through your right foot. And again, try and have a book or a block handy. Take your left hand and just hold onto that block, if you can, as you start to lift your right leg up off the mat. And again, you open up your body towards the right-hand side. Again, embrace any shakes or wobbles. If you fall out, it's all part of the pose. You just step back into it. On the next breath, let's all bring our right foot back down towards the mat. So we're back in warrior two legs. So your right leg is nice and straight. As straight as you can make it. Your left leg, you've got a slight bend in your left knee. Again, bring your hands up to warrior two. This time I'm going to cut all the hands again towards the front of the mat. I'm going to step that left foot all the way back to meet our right foot in high plank. I'm going to spin over and take side plank for the right hand side. So take your right hand towards the middle of the mat. Let's all start by dropping our left knee and dropping our left shin. Come onto our left shin and just drop your, say your left shin, your right shin. Drop your right knee and your right shin. I'm going to be nice and straight for your left leg. The sole of your left foot is grounded onto the mat. So start to open up the body over towards the left hand side. Set your gaze up towards your left hand. And if it's there for you and go for the full posture, you're going to take your right leg. So your right foot is now sitting underneath your left foot. Both legs are nice and straight. You've got that banana shape going through the body. With your hips slightly high. Next we do on the other side. You start to thread that left hand just behind the right elbow for one. And then let's open back up to the left hand side. Let's take another two. So again, start to bring that left arm and left hand down. And sit behind that right elbow. And then take it all the way back up. I'm shaking. I hope you are too. Let's go for one more. Let's take that left hand that sits again just behind that right elbow. And on the inhale, take it back up towards the sky. I'm going to fall out. Let's bring our hands, so sit at the front of the mat in high plank. Let's roll forwards and backwards onto the toes. This time roll forwards on the toes in your high plank. Let's come to low plank. Let's push up into our upward facing dog. Really shine your chest through your arms here. You're nice and tall, you're not collapsing to your lower back. And then push back as you curl your toes under. into downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in and exhale through the nose. Again, whilst we're here for 2 more breaths, just see if your heels are coming any closer towards the mat. Really maintain your ujjayi breathing here to help us flow for the next few minutes. On the next breath in, let's all jump or step towards the front of the mat as we meet in ragdoll. So nice and heavy through your head, through your arms. On this occasion, what we're going to do now, we're going to go for a big toe grab. Just create a bit of length and stretch out through the hammies. So with your left hand, take your 2-piece fingers and wrap your 2-piece fingers just underneath your big toe. Just grab your big toe, your left big toe, and just do the equivalent on the other side. Take your right hand, take your 2-piece fingers, and wrap those around your right big toe. Just bend into your knees so you can really grab your toes down. Have your legs straight, bend into your knees. Once you've got the grip, start to take a halfway lift. So start to lift your torso up. Take your gaze just beyond the front of your mat. Your back is nice and straight. You're rolling your shoulders back whilst maintaining the grip. On the exhale, release your head towards the ground and use your grips to pull your toes. Pull your big toes and see if you can create any more length in your legs here. If you can, see if you can take your chest towards your thighs. And as you do that, you start to feel a nice stretch down your hamstrings. Just hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just bend to the knees a little bit as you release your grip. Just sway again from left to right. From here, let's all come into Malasana. Malasana is where we come into a crouch position that most kids can do, but we lose all our flexibility as we become big people, become adults. So take your feet, so just beyond hip distance apart. Both feet are facing out towards 10 and 2. And slowly start to bring your bum as close as you can towards the mat. You might find that your heels raise up off the mat, that's all good. If they're able to stay on the mat, just bring it so your elbows sit inside of both knees and try and sit nice and tall through your body. Again, use the resistance of the arms against the knees to help bring you up. And like I said, if you're up on the heels, feel free to use a towel. So your towel sits underneath your heels to help you come down, just give you that added support that you might need, which is how we all start. As we come to the last now, just bring your hands to prayer position, whether you're up on your toes. If you've got a towel underneath your heels, then really relax into that. If your sole of your feet are flat on the mat, and see if you use the inside of your elbows to sit a bit taller. You're going to sit there for 5. Just hold it there if you're on Malasana. If you want to come into crow pose, you've been practicing crow. Then just bring your knees so they sit just in your triceps and start to roll it forward and back. Again, roll it forward and you soon start to find that your toes lift up. If you're on Malasana, just hold it for another couple of breaths. If you're coming to crow, just come up onto the hands, bring your toes together, draw your arms in, and let's all meet in child's pose. So release yourself out of Malasana. If you're in crow, jump your feet back and let's all meet in child's pose. So you're bringing your toes together, your knees apart, and just fold in in between your knees, bring your head towards the mat, and lengthen out your hands in front of you. With Malasana, you should hopefully find you've created a bit more room between your hips, feeling nice and juicy. Maybe later on today or tomorrow morning, you'll take note that you've been working your hips through the various hip openers. Let's all come up into our tabletop. We're going to spin around and line our backs as we come into bridge pose. So come and lie your back and put back towel underneath me. It's getting a bit sweaty. So come and lie your back. You want your knees up, points up towards the sky. Keep your both feet hip distance apart. Just see if you can brush the back of your heels. Just the back. If you can brush them, that's a good distance to be. Just hold it here for 3 breaths. Just close your eyes and just appreciate the support you've got of the ground here beneath you. If you haven't got any tweaks or pain in your lower back, when it comes to bridge pose, if you've got a block handy or a book, you can come into supported bridge. I'm going to do that. So on the next inhale, I'm going to push the soles of the feet into the mat as you start to lift the hips up from lower back, middle back, upper back, and then tuck the block. So the block sits just underneath my sacrum. So you've got a block, you want to place a block just above your bum, just above the fleshy part, where it's a bit harder in your sacrum. If you don't have a block, you can go for full bridge, then just hold it there without the support. Really wake up the toes, so the soles of your feet flat on the mat, just start to lift the toes up, not the heels, the toes up off the mat, and bring some energy and life to your toes. Maybe give them a shake. From this position, also try and engage your glutes, your bum, your buttocks. So really give them a nice squeeze. Engaging the butt also just helps to take pressure off your lower back. And together we're going to start to come down, upper back, middle back, lower back. Let's all together take our feet together and our knees apart as we come in to Baddha Konasana, legs. So you get your knees apart, your feet together. Again, you're creating a nice opening in your hips here. You place your hands on the inside of your thighs. Let's go again. So again, just start to lift the knees up towards the sky. The soles of your feet are flat on the mat. Just make sure you can shave the back of your heels with your hands. That helps guide you, that you're in a nice position. And again, start to lift up from lower back, middle back, upper back. This time you want to take an interlace of the hands underneath your sacrum. So your arms are nicely flat out on the floor. And you're using the grips so you can go a bit higher. Engage your glutes as you lift your hips closer towards the ceiling. Draw in your belly. And engage your abs for 3, for 2, for 1. And then slowly start to release down. Upper back, middle back, lower back. Again, bring your feet together and your knees apart. This time, take your left hand onto your belly. Place your right hand onto your heart. Just close your eyes. Another good support for your lower back is to bring some strength to your abs. So we're going to just come into a couple rounds of abs before we wrap up. Start to draw your knees to your chest. Lift your feet up off the ground and take both hands and just give yourself a nice massage over your lower back,
Just rolling clockwise and then taking the opposite direction. Then start to roll up and down. Just giving your back a nice massage. Try to keep your heels up off the mat. As you're rolling, just go up and down. Try not to touch the back of your heels. Try and balance at the top. And on the next rock up, we're going to come into everyone's favorite, which is high boats. So we're balancing on our bums here. Try and bring your knees in together. Maybe take your hands so they sit just underneath your thighs. So you can take your shins so they're parallel to the mat. As you're grabbing hold of your thighs, see if you can roll the shoulders back and sit nice and tall through your torso. Your chest is nice and proud. If you can release the grip, just take your hands either side of your legs. We'll level up one more, see if you can start to straighten out through your legs. From high plank, let's start to come down to low plank. Again, you're balancing your bum here, legs are off the mat, your shoulders off the mat. Let's come up into high plank and then low plank. Let's go up for high, exhale for low. Let's go high, exhale for low. Let's go to high plank, high boat. Going crazy. High boat, hold it to high boat for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's go to low boat. Don't want to say low boat. For 3, for 2, for 1, and release. Reach yourself to the mat. No idea what I was calling it. High plank. Sorry about that. High boat, low boat. Again, draw the heels in. So your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. As if you're going to take your bridge pose. You want to be able to just touch the back of your heels. From here, let's just take our hands behind our heads as we're going to come into a few crunches. As you come into the crunches, the aim is to lift your shoulders so they're off the mat. So together, and I'll count them out. Let's go. 1. When your shoulders are up off the mat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going. 12, 13. Shoulders are nice and high off the mat. 20. Keep going if you can. Nearly there. I think we're on 25, 26. Keep going. Keep your shoulders nice and high off the mat. 29, 30. Strike it to 40. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Hold it for 3, for 2, for 1, and release down to the mat. Again, take your knees apart, bring your feet together. Take your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. Take a deep inhale in through the nose and exhale through the nose. Start to release your legs straight out in front of you on the mat. Just bring your hands either side of your body. Just take advantage of any space and room you've got. Really feel nicely relaxed, feel nice and grounded. Just tuck your chin in a little bit to create a bit of length on your neck. This is lying on the mat. Just close your eyes as you come into Shavasana. So release your ujjayi breathing. Let's come back into a natural breath.
Here just for a couple of minutes. Just close your eyes. Just come to that meditative state of stillness and silence. Start to bring some movement to your hands and your feet. Just keep your eyes closed. You slowly start to come out of Shavasana. Walk your head from left to right. Slowly start to bring your knees into your chest and give yourself just one more squeeze. Just roll over to your left side as you come into your fetal position. Just lie here for a couple of seconds. Slowly start to push yourself back up. Just keeping your eyes closed. We're coming to a seated position as we start the class, or maybe come to your knees. Okay, with your eyes closed, just try and see if you can sit nice and tall. Make use of the space you created in your back today. Just draw in your belly, engage your abs. Bring your hands to your chest in prayer position. Just give yourself thanks. Thanks, giving yourselves the opportunity to feel centered and grounded, to go for a flow and come back 360 to the same position. And just take this expression of being centered and grounded with you for your coming week. Thank you. All done. Hour done and dusted. Hope that was all right, guys. Oh, all finished. So the time is getting a little bit over. Sorry about that. Yeah, hope it was all right. Do let us know. Thanks as always for your feedback and for taking part, participating, sharing your thoughts, supporting as you do during the week and on the day, by putting this out there. Again, all these sessions are free, designed just to help us move into our bodies and discover ourselves a bit more. Yeah, it's still going on, still going to continue. So feel free to please keep joining in and sharing the love, and give us any feedback, anything you want to see different for next week. I'll play a few tunes, but otherwise have a great Sunday. I'm going to go and jump on the laptop and answer any questions you might have. But yeah, have a great week, guys. Take care.